Hello, this is Jeff Dawson again, Amazon author. You can look me up. Some of the titles are Love's True Second Chance, Why Did Everything Happen, Living with Breast Cancer, Occupation, Guinea Pigs of the 70s and 80s, and others. About a week ago, I was talking about these statues that are coming down. And there was some blowback, which that was fine. The first one that came to mind was I live in Dallas when they took down the General Lee statue at Lee Park in 2017. I looked it up and it has been sold to a private investor for about, I think it was $1.2 million. It was a law firm out of Addison. The stipulation is it cannot be displayed anywhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we'll see what they do with it. I'm still trying to figure out how it cost $500,000 to take the damn thing down. I'm in construction. I do estimating. And I could not get anywhere near that number. The most I'd come up with was $100,000. So I question the wisdom of the City of Dallas Council, but that's a whole different story. So then we start having these protests after the tragic death of George Floyd, and then the rioters take over, and then there's the clamoring for taking down all statues of the Confederacy, no matter who it is. And we're talking about military bases in the South being changed. Hood, Beauregard, Bragg, etc. And all of my friends on the left, oh, this is great, this is great. They're traitors. They shouldn't be honored. All of it should just be taken down and put in museums, which a friend of mine, Jackie, suggested. And that idea does have merit. But something happened this weekend. A statue at I believe it was a VFW in California was destroyed. Just recently tonight, they're trying to tear down Andrew Jackson at Lafayette Square. They wanted to take down Christopher Columbus in New York. Yeah, the Italian community got behind that, didn't they? Francis Scott Key, who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. The museum in New York is going to take down Teddy Roosevelt. These are not Confederates. And now you have some idiots trying to set up an autonomous zone in D.C. at St. John's Church. And then there's this idiot Sean King who wants all of the white Jesus portraits and statues taken down. I commented on this and I warned against it. That it won't stop there, but all my friends on the left, oh yeah, well, this is going to be fine. And then we're going to go out and we're going to paint the streets and we're going to put all our beautiful, loving portraits and murals and all this, and we're going to instill a feeling of love. It ain't working, is it? Not even close. I made the comment in a post that these people don't care who you are. One gal said that my hypothetical analysis and deduction of it hitting the suburbs was absolutely ludicrous. And yet that night, at 71st and Memorial in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a riot broke out. That is suburbia. And I've seen none of my associates on the left getting up in arms over this. These people want to take down the history of the United States. Do you get it? And you're either going to be with them or you're going to be against them. You can stand there and say, look who I voted for. Look at my button. Look who I support. And all they're going to say is, you're with us or you're not. And you're going to have to make a choice. And if you're not with them, and they decide to come down your street and take it over and turn it into an autonomous zone, you will be beholden to them. That's all there is to it. And now we're wanting to take down Jesus Christ. Now for the atheists and the agnostics and the devil worshippers, well, they're just screaming for joy and glee. They're having bonfires and dancing around them. They would love to see this happen to the United States. If these people start going after churches, we're in real trouble, because a lot of people like myself, we understand that the United States is imperfect. It has its problems, but it's still the greatest damn nation in the world. It has had more chance of opportunity for every race in the world. As I pointed out, it has its flaws. We all understand that. And there always is going to be a sect that is never going to be happy with the left or the right or the independent. And they will cling to their beliefs to the day they die. That's in any society, in any country, in all of world history. But if you get the majority of the people to come together, and I'm not talking like we have right now in the United States in our elections, because you can see it, 51, 52, 48, 49, you can call that a majority, but it's a very thin majority. We need a majority like we had with Ronald Reagan. Americans were behind him. But all of these feel-good people that were all for taking down these statues and monuments, now they're coming after the rest of them. They just defaced St. John's Church in Lafayette Square. Do you support that? Now it's going to be interesting to see how Trump gets them out of there, because we don't need another Seattle, and I'm really surprised they haven't already brought it takes a while to mobilize the guard, but I would look for them to be there in a couple of days, because we know good and well that mayor of D.C. isn't going to do anything. She's already proven that. So Trump might just have to take over Washington, D.C. This has got to stop. And you have to stop supporting this. Because all your multicolored flags and all your wonderful little thoughts is playing out right now on TV. It's playing out in the nation's capital. And there is nothing to say it's not going to come to your city. And you really need to think about that. Because this attitude of, it can't happen here, you are sadly mistaken. We've already seen one protester shot by a civilian. You want to see more blood running in the streets? And his was a justified shooting. Is that what you want to see? So if ever there was a time for Americans to come together, put your politics aside and look at the big picture. And I don't want to hear that it's BLM or it's Antifa. As I said in an earlier video about a week or so ago, when our soldiers are in war, when we're fighting the enemy, we don't ask to see their political card. We didn't want to know if they were a member of the Chinese National or Chinese Communist Party or the National Socialist Party. Our soldiers didn't ask those questions. They were the enemy, and they killed them. And that was it. Let the people in higher commands figure that out. That's their job. Our job is to clear the enemy out of the way. And this is where we're headed if things don't straighten up. So y'all really need to think about who you're supporting and what can come walking down your street. Do you really want to go through what Mississippi went through back in the 60s? And that movie with Gene Hackman, Mississippi's Burning, is outstanding. Only it's just not going to be Mississippi. It'll be Alabama. It'll be Texas. It'll be Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, Arkansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Wyoming, New York, Delaware, North and South Carolina. Pick your state. Because these people don't care about borders. They do not care about government. They only care about an agenda that they are pushing. Who is behind it? We can have all the conspiracy theories in the world. We'll worry about that when the dust settles. But for the moment, it's time to get law and order back in the streets. If a Republican mayor, a Democratic mayor, a Republican governor, a Democratic governor doesn't want to do it, then we can find ourselves in a position that the United States found itself in back in 29, I believe it was, 28, when Hoover was president, and the bonus marchers went to Washington, D.C., and for those that don't know, the bonus marchers were World War I veterans that were promised payment. And we were in a depression. So I think it was 29 or 30. I can verify that. Hoover wasn't real happy. Hoover turned it over to the Secretary of War. Secretary Secretary of War turned it over to the Chief of Staff of the military, which was Douglas MacArthur. And Douglas MacArthur, he didn't call the police. He didn't call the militia. He didn't call the National Guard. He called up the United States Army. They mobilized with full weapons, rifles, machine guns, and tanks. And they cleared out 14,000 Americans who were trying to get what had been promised them by Woodrow Wilson. Only this time, these people haven't been promised anything. They are just taking what they want. So you need to think real hard on the big picture. Put your ideologies aside and determine what type of country do you want to live in. Do you want to live in one where they destroy art? And this, it just amazes me. All the artistic friends or acquaintances I know just aren't jumping up and down because they are defaming and destroying what you do. It's art. And you're not upset about it. Well, you better think about that, because they don't care. They want what they want, and it's time to end it and put it down. If Soros is behind it, okay. If they can prove it, they can prove it. Right now, I don't care who's behind it. I just want it stopped. I don't care what their ideology is. I don't care what political party they support. I want it stopped, and I want it stopped now. And if the mayors and the governors don't want to do it, and this keeps getting worse and worse, this is not a block party. This is not the summer of love. Hell, 2 people were shot in Seattle this weekend. We won't be under martial law. We're going to be under military law. And I guarantee you, you are not going to like that at all. But one thing that will happen, law and order will come back to the United States. But just be prepared to have papers, just like they did in Russia, in the Eastern Bloc countries. Because if you don't have papers, you're not going anywhere. Think about that. It's time for this to end.